Alright, we're back here. We've seen this scene many times. You know, the great disaster from 10 years ago. Shiro is very fixated on this incident, well, for obvious reasons. I saw many corpses. I died at that time and was reborn. I do not have any regrets. My eyes lost hatred there. My hands lost anger there. My legs lost hope there. Myself lost itself there. Everything went away. It is not because I gave up that I believed nothing would save me. I just found out that it's natural. It's just that dying people will die, and survivors will survive. Again, you know, people die when they are killed. Dying people will die. I guess there's many more instances than I thought of Shiro saying that line. You know, or at least, well, actually, I remember last time. Actually, there's I think it was Rin that said that also. You know, people die when they are killed. I guess that infected her as well. That line of thinking. Anyway, I laid down on the rubble and stared at the burning field. I understood everything then. I thought I understood everything. But I still considered it. How wonderful it would be if I was able to save everything here. That's what I admired. I just wished nobody would have to suffer. That's why I tried to become a superhero. It was simple, and it seemed like an ideal existence. That was why I aimed for it. I knew where I had to be. There were many ways to get there. I kept on running, wanting to get as close to it as possible, even though I did not know what was right or wrong. Many paths I took were crooked, and my destination was only getting farther away. I'm taking the long way. I've been repeating this for 10 years since I got saved by Kiritsugu. But I won't regret it. I'm not as skillful as Tosaka. I will take the wrong path and lose a lot of things at times, but I cannot discard them as meaningless. I have to present meanings for everything I've trampled upon and everything that cannot be returned. So I cannot lose. It can't be helped if I lose against someone else, but I can't win against, but I can win against myself. I can always fight back against my mind that tells me to give up. That's all I swore upon. There's only one thing that I believed in and wanted to believe in. And actually, well, it's funny, that line of thinking just now just reminds me of CrossFit. You know, I don't know much about CrossFit, but I've saw an article about it. Again, I still don't know what really CrossFit is, but I guess it's like an exercise program where the idea is you do a lot of high intensity exercises, right, and push yourself to the limit. And so you know, it's kind of you know, you're building muscles or your body or whatever, but you're also building willpower at the same time, and that's the idea. You always just gotta push yourself beyond the limit, you know, go Super Saiyan, Ultra Plus, I don't know, something like that. At least that's my impression of it. And I guess that's the idea for Shiro, to just not give up, no matter how much it hurts, no matter how much, you know, he fails, just to never give up. That's the idea. But, well, I've also read that article. It can be kind of unhealthy because you can push yourself so hard that you'll, you know, do permanent injuries, long-term injuries to your own body if you do that, I guess. So, I don't know. Anyway, that's right. Even if I'm walking down the wrong path, I will not regret believing in it. Yes, I will only do CrossFit if I have the power of, you know, Saber's sheath, so I can use supernatural healing powers. Otherwise, it might be a bad idea. I don't know. I wake up from the light shining in. It's before 6 o'clock. The sky I can see through the window is a clouded one. I get ready and leave my room. My body feels well, and there isn't that much pain from my wound. I shouldn't be a burden to Tosaka, even if we end up fighting. Yeah, I guess when the alliance is over, we'll...
来たわね。準備はいい？シロ。
Megane? Wow, you have glasses on. Amazing. What was I saying? Yeah, if technically if our alliance is over, we'll be enemies again. But at this point, I mean, does it really matter, you know, Shiro? I mean, you're just gonna give the Holy Grail to Rin anyway after we win, right? Unless you have a wish, Miyashiro. I don't think Rin has a wish either, though. So it's like, does it really matter? Can we just like be buddies? You know, just be best buds until the very end. That'd be great. And your cute glasses. I'm ready, but Tosaka has transformed into a different kind of character archetype in anime.
何よ、地雷踏んで動けなくなった新兵みたいな顔して。まだ準備できてないの？
いや、そうじゃなくて、父さんがなんか変じゃないか。
は？ああ、これ細かい作業の時にかけるだけだから気にしないで。
Well, I guess it's alright if you say so. What kind of magic is it? It looks so wrong and yet so right.
いい？私たちが向かうのは郊外の森。町からはるかに離れた市街。まだ人の手が入っていない広大な樹海よ。長年人間の介入を拒んできただけあって、森は深くて広いわ。年に何人か何の準備もなしに踏み込んで遭難したって話知ってるでしょ？
I nod silently. Our destination is the Einsburn Villa that is said to be somewhere in that forest. Our fate will be sealed the instant our negotiations fail and we end up fighting. Yeah. If we just go up there and Berserker just like, you know, even touches us, we just instantly all die. You know, you can't really do much. In fact, how are we gonna even negotiate? What's the point of working with us anyway? I guess to provide like a little bit of like backup, you know, against the other servants. We won't be able to call for help, and it'll be difficult to run away. We cannot escape that forest unless we defeat that giant, Berserker.
じゃあ、そろそろ行きましょう。徹夜して場所に当たりはつけといたから、うまくすれば半日ぐらいで見つけられるはずよ。とりあえず国道までは車を使うから、タクシー代用意しといて。
She starts walking with a big bag in her hand. I follow her with the usual Shinai bag in mine. But Tosaka, money for the cab is fine, but does that mean we'll be walking back on the way home? We rode the taxi for an hour from the town. We drove on the highway, past many mountains, and reached the entrance to the forest. Of course, the forest does not have any paved roads. We finally reached the entrance to the forest after walking about a kilometer from the highway. I knew it wasn't gonna be easy, but I get nervous once I actually face it. The forest is dark even though it's daytime. Did you bring any rations, Shiro? You might be stuck here for more than a day, maybe. The tall branches block off the sunlight, and it's hard to see more than a few meters ahead, let alone to the end.
ちょっとシロ、悪いけど先に進んでみてくれない？
いいけど、あの子の居場所を知ってるのは遠坂なんだろ？俺が先に行っても仕方がないと思うが。
Just do it, Shiro. She knows what she's doing. I complain as I enter the forest. Then... I mean, I assume that's the boundary field, right? Every single home, every single like Magus' territory has like a boundary field. I pull back my foot. I only felt the shock for an instant. It's not that strong, so it'll hurt more if I hit my foot on the corner of a dresser. Well, in short, it was like static electricity.
やっぱり識別だけだろうけど、森全体に管理が行き届いてるみたいね。
ちょっと待て。それまずいんじゃないのか。要するに防犯ベルに引っかかったってことだろ。なら
別に問題ないんじゃない？私たちは奇襲に来たわけじゃないもの。話し合いに来たんだから、むしろ今からアピールしておいた方が得でしょ。
一応気をつけろよ。ちょっとビリッとくるから。
分かってる分かってる。シロの見てたからどんなものか分かってるって。
She waves her hand and steps into the forest. Then... What? I guess we got like a small shock, but she gets zapped. Tosaka jumps back with a funny scream. I hear fire hissing. I want to believe it's my imagination that the leaves under Tosaka's feet are scorched.
個人差がある警報みたいだな。俺には挨拶程度だったけど。
I wonder why. I calmly analyze the situation. But it doesn't seem like Tosaka is listening to me.
やってくれるじゃないあのガキ。今笑ったの確かに聞こえたんだから。
Tosaka yells into the empty sky. She's so angry that she might go to fight instead of talk. Well, anyway, it seems talking bad about Tosaka is fatal no matter how far away you are from her, so I guess I'll refrain from doing so. We walk in the forest. We're the only people in this vast place. I don't hear any beasts, and the grasses are dead like corpses. The endless rows of trees makes me think this forest goes on forever. It's been 3 hours since we entered. Just as our surroundings start to blur together...
見つけた。って聞いてはいたけど呆れたわ。本気でこんなところにあんなものを建てるなんて。
I follow Tosaka's stare. There's only darkness ahead. Between the trees, there's something unbefitting of these surroundings, visible through a crack so small that you missed it if you weren't careful.
なんだあれ。壁か。
壁よ。まったくどうかしてるわ。あれ、自分たちの国から丸ごと持ってきたものよ。
You mean the castle? Tosaka complains and heads to the strange object we can see in the distance. I still can't tell what it is, so I follow her. I mean, we know it's a castle, right? That's where they're living. We get out of the forest. The endless forest quickly ends. No, it seems like the forest is scooped out here with a big spoon. The sky curving above us is gray. A giant dome. Seems more like an underground kingdom than a clearing. Yeah, it's the big castle. I mean, that's kind of interesting what Rin said. They just placed the castle here? They just like grab it and moved it over here? Is that actually what they did? I guess it's possible through magic. I mean, I thought it was just here the whole time, or maybe they built it a long time ago, but maybe actually they did you know, use some magic to teleport an entire castle here. Maybe. This is Iliasville's dwelling, an old castle built within the forest. A solitary castle without any visitors, too big for one girl, not to mention too desolate for anyone to live alone in. Anyway, it does no good to be standing here. According to Tosaka, Iliasville knows we're here. Then we should go in from the front entrance as a sign that we're not here to fight.
よし、行くぞ、トサカ。って、トサカ？
Tosaka is looking up at the castle with an alarmed expression. Her face is tense, as if she's confronting an enemy.
トサカ、気になるもんでもあったのか？
私たち以外に誰かいる？
そりゃいるだろう。イリアってことバーサーカーの住処なんだから。
Oh yeah.
そうじゃなくて、それ以外の誰かってことよ。シロ、 こっちから入るわよ。
Someone else?
ちょっとお前。
I wonder who? Hosoka starts running towards a big tree by the wall, and I don't have the time to stop her. No, that's not all. She grabs into a branch and skillfully climbs up. I look up in astonishment. Under Tosuka's skirt, no. Tosuka looks around and she jumps and kicks at the castle. A shattering sound. The window breaks and the red figure disappears into the castle. Oh, you were just breaking in?
ほら早く。本気でおかしいわよこの城。
もう話し合いをするんじゃなかったのかよ。
Yeah, I thought we were just gonna go to the front entrance, but we're just sneaking in for some reason. But what's done is done. I climb up the tree and jump into the second floor window like Tosuka. Here we are. We enter the hallway. Oh, and I hear something in the background. Explosions? Even before I'm dazzled by the magnificence of the castle, I sense the abnormality Tosuka is talking about. I hear sounds of fighting. Swords crashing against each other. But would such a storm-like battle even be possible? Even the most fierce battle of swords, the battle between Berserker and Saber, did not create such sounds. Then I suddenly realize this isn't the sound of swords crashing. This is one against many. There's literally a war going on somewhere in this castle. One side has to be Iliasville. This is Iliasville's castle. If there's a battle here, it could only be Berserker attacking the intruding enemy. I run. The sound is coming from below us. Considering the location we came in from, the battle is happening right in the center of the castle, in the guest hall. Yeah, I guess if we went to the entrance, actually, we would end up smack dab in the middle of that battle, which would not be good, I guess. I guess that's what Rin sensed. I run through the unfamiliar castle. This isn't the time to be talking. I don't know what's going on, but something terrible is happening. I run down the stairs. The fierce battle is happening nearby.
ここ広間の吹き抜けに繋がってる。
Tosuka confirms what's down the hallway. The hallway splits at a T-junction, both branches leading to a terrace at either side of the hall.
ここで分かれましょう。私はこっちから様子を見るから、シロはそっちからお願い。
Time to split up, gang. Well, it's better to split up, is it? I don't know. As we are now, we have no way to escape once we're found. There's no point in staying together right now. I guess that's the... that's why you split up, so we take less losses, I guess. If one gets captured, then the other one can escape. That's the idea. Maybe. We don't stand a chance either way. If we're separated, there's hope for the other one to escape, even if one of us is found. Though, considering Shiro, you know, for example, if Rin gets captured, Shiro probably won't run off on his own. He'll try to save her. So it doesn't really matter that we split up, but I guess we'll do it. Cover more ground, I guess. Tosuka walks down the hallway facing east. I nod and go down the other hallway, the one heading west.
シロ、
She suddenly calls to me.
分かってるわね。何が起きようと絶対に手は出さないで。今の私たちに戦う手段はない。いい？やばいと思ったらすぐに逃げるのよ。どちらかが捕まっても構わず走って。誰かを助けるなんて、まず自分を助けてから考えることなんだから。
Saving others comes after you save yourself. Very wise advice. I think that's what all, like, you know, all people related in, like, emergency situations, you know, those types of jobs, such as, like, firemen and medics, you know, emergency medics. That's something they live by, actually, you know, since they're very important, you know, because like if they're the ones in trouble and they sacrifice themselves to save someone else, then in the long run, less people will be saved, you know, because the person who should be doing the rescuing needs to be rescued, and that's bad. She suppresses her emotions. That sounds more like a wish than a warning. No damage in the guest hall, I assume. I go around and come out into the terrace. I see Tosuka emerge on the opposite side. She immediately takes cover, then peeks out. As soon as I follow her example and look down, we both gasp. Shinji. Well, if he's here, then Mr. Goldie should be here as well. And maybe that's what's happening. Shinji stands atop the rubble in the corner of the room, happily watching the scene. No, well, that's not the surprising thing. What I have to accept right now is the battle Shinji is observing. The black giant lets out a roar, because that's all he can do. He can't really speak, he just roars all the time. The swinging axe sword blows up dust and grinds the rubble into powder. The mad warrior appears no different from before. No, his dreadful roar is louder now. The girl in white is behind the giant, Berserker's master, Ilyasville. An ever-smiling girl, unsuited for murder. But she definitely does do murder, though. I guess not in this route. I don't know if she murdered anyone in this route, but anyway. That girl is now shivering and watching her servant with a face almost in tears. Her pale face is desperately trying to deny the despair in front of her. "Someone help me!" The girl's trembling lips mouth these words. "Tasukete!" A storming whirlwind. Berserker's axe sword is repelled each time by the noble phantasm of one servant. The one reigning, not realigning, but the one reigning from the throne of rubble in the center of the hall. It's this guy. In new clothes though. You know, last time we fought him, he was like, his hair was slicked back and he has like golden armor, but I guess this time it's just him in his like jeans and casual jacket. I don't know. Many swords are released. Each one of the weapons appearing from behind the man would cause certain death. They attack. They're like gushing water. The infinite noble phantasms not only repel Berserker's axe sword, but pierce his body. Pieces are blown from his body. The sword cuts through his body, penetrates his skull, and pierces his heart. But he still does not die. The giant regenerates every time he is killed, slowly but surely moving forward. 8 times already. He's been killed so many times, but Berserker still moves forward. The enemy greets him with a smile. The tragedy continues. Berserker is killed without even being able to go near the enemy. It's not because Berserker is getting killed without being able to do anything. That servant is beyond belief. The infinite noble phantasms he sends out are each a true noble phantasm. I can tell since I've projected Archer's swords. They are the originals of every noble phantasms, the first ones from before they became legend. Who could he be, having an infinite supply of such weapons? Well, he's the king of all kings. Again, we know this because of the Fate route. Now, first of all, there should only be 7 servants. I keep mentioning the Fate route. I don't know if that's spoilers. I don't know. Again, the intended order to play the routes is to go first Fate, and then Unlimited Blade Works, and then Heaven's Feel. So I don't think it's spoilers if you talk about the Fate route while you're going through this route, you know? I think it should be fine. I definitely do make a lot of references, though, to the previous route. Because, some things repeat, we see the same people, right? You know? Even though the way it's written, it's as if, Shiro technically has never seen Gilgamesh, right? He knows nothing about him, so we kind of just learn about him again in a weird way. Anyway, first of all, there should only be 7 servants. Then he's the 8th one, someone that shouldn't exist. But somehow he does, because he's from the previous war, I can't breathe. Berserker defies description. his body of steel and his superhuman strength and his regenerative powers on top of that, he's not someone you can match. But the Ace Servant does not retreat from such an opponent and overwhelms Berserker using the demonic swords and the using the demonic swords and the holy swords he releases. I mean, it seems it's not going well for Berserker. Normally, yeah, he would be a force to be reckoned with, but for Gilgamesh, not so much. He's just throwing swords at him from a distance, and it seems to be working well. You know, Archer, I guess, did a similar thing, you know, shooting arrows at Berserker, but Berserker had resistance to such arrows. But these noble phantasms that Gilgamesh is just throwing at him is much more effective, I guess. And that's his weakness, I assume. When I look up, I can see that Tosaka is pale as well. It's only natural. The place below us is a land of death. We'll die instantly if we enter it. No, more than that. Look at all these swords. Got a rapier. He's got. Oh, I recognize that's a spear, right? That's Gay Bolg. Gay Bolg. Well, that's a katana. Another spear. That kind of looks like Excalibur, but not entirely. I guess it's similar looking. This just has a lot of swords. That little hook thing as well. We saw that before, actually. And this one looks like a Zweihander too. Long one over here. He's a demon. He has a brutality different from Berserker. That man wishes for battles only to kill others. But with such an enemy in front of him, the Black Giant is still the strongest. He does not stop even if he's pierced or slashed all over his body. He receives the rain of noble phantasms, regenerates each time, and closes in on his enemy. It is an advance devoid of tactics. He's not thinking about countering the enemy's attacks. It is a savage fight where he advances on his enemy as long as he still lives. Well, yeah, I mean, that's also a disadvantage. The fact that he's a little insane and can't really think of anything else but just charging at him. But when you think about it, you know, an enemy that is so easily manipulated by simply kiting them with ranged weapons doesn't look good. Doesn't look good for the Berserker. He will not reach the enemy. Berserker's brute courage will prove futile, and he will end his life as a mere target. The enemy understands that. Gilgamesh's zoning power is just too much. That is why he is standing there and provoking the foolishly advancing giant. The Black Giant does not have a way to win. It's something the enemy and even I understand. And probably, even Berserker himself knows that. Well, that's a different kind of war. But the giant keeps walking forward. He knows no retreat and does not avoid the attacks. The man greets the figure with a smile. The noble phantasms emerge from space. Letting out a laugh, he readies the noble phantasms behind him. And just with a snap of his finger, at his signal, the numerous noble phantasms descend upon the giant. The giant repels most of them at the same time, loses most of his life. You know, what was that about making Berserker our ally? I guess that's not happening anytime soon. The Black Giant shakes. The body of a rock starts to fall. But the giant stands his ground and shakes the noble phantasms from his body. Nani? The exclamation of surprise comes from the strange servant. The Black Giant destroys the swarm of noble phantasms and moves towards his enemy. His body is dying already. With a hopeless, fatal wound, the black giant still advances. It is the result of a strong will. It is not madness resulting from being a berserker. The giant faces this hopeless fight with an iron will. The magical bullets are fired mercilessly. Repelling it with his axe sword, the giant corners the man with his body slashed and with his limbs pierced. Goddamn projectile spammers! Ah! He will not reach the man. He still challenges the man because there is something he cannot give up. And what is he moving forward for? Servants fight for their master to protect the master's life. That is why that giant does not retreat. He can only move forward as a shield to protect the frightened master behind him. The giant continues his foolish advancement. It is because he knows that he needs to take all the attacks in order to beat that servant without having his master killed. And when he reaches his enemy, that is when he wins. From the beginning, this has been this battle's nature. The man has to kill the giant before he reaches him. The giant has to approach the man before his life ends. It is a battle where the one to accomplish their goal is the one to win. The giant is aware of that, even if it is a battle with no hope of victory from the start. He roars. Coming out of his 10th death, his body explodes forward. Yeah, how many lives does he have? He charges into the man like a bull challenging a matador. Numerous arrows are released. Was it his last charge, or did he just get used to the attacks? The giant repels all the arrows. He approaches the owner of the noble phantasms. He swings his axe sword. The weapon that has not yet been raised against the man rips through the air. The black bull is captured by numerous appearing chains. Nani? Did we see this before, actually? Somehow Gilgamesh has chains. Now, unless I'm forgetting it, like I'm forgetting the fact that he has the power of bondage, I think this is the first time we've seen him use this. So I guess we didn't see him use this before. Because we know his other noble phantasm, you know, Ea. We didn't ever see him use chains before. Man, what kind of other noble phantasms does Gilgamesh has? I assume like every single one of them. What kind of noble phantasm is it? The chain that appeared out of nowhere confines the berserker as if binding space itself. Well, the chain twists berserker's arms and bends them in a direction they should not go. The chains tighten mercilessly, trying to tear off the rock-like head. The man's voice. The hall is filled with the creaking sounds of the chain. It must be Berserker's power. The giant tries to break the chain that binds even space itself. Even if it sounds impossible, I'm sure the giant will be able to manage it. And the man acknowledges that as well. The girl screams. Iliasville commands Berserker to retreat using her command spell. I remember like Saber can teleport, right? With the command spell. Can Berserker just teleport out of that chain? But the giant is still bound by chains, unable to move an inch. Well, it didn't work.
霊樹による空間転移などこの俺が許すものか。
I guess it doesn't work. And so, the man points to the giant as if to denote the end. An astonished girl's voice. It's over. It really ends. Bound by chains, he receives 22 noble phantasms on his defenseless body. Yeah, 22 specifically? I don't know. I guess Shiro just counted every single one of them. The black giant falls silent after becoming a grotesque object. I don't even need to check if he's alive or not. Even if he's a great hero that overcame 10 deaths, he should not be able to get up after receiving 20. Yes, even if he is alive, he should not even have the power to breathe. And the battle ends. How many lives does Hercules have? What's his noble phantasm? I guess in this timeline we do not know, actually. We don't know how many lives he has. I assume 10, that's what Shiro said. It was known from the start who was going to win. Berserker cannot beat that servant. Servants cannot beat that man as long as they are heroic spirits. All heroic spirits have things they're weak against when they are alive. Those are their greatest weak points. Then, whether there is a hero who possesses all of the noble phantasms, even the ones that killed each hero. This is the result. Even if he may have been stronger, he cannot beat that man. Masaka! No! The girl in white runs to the giant corpse. Seeing it. Ow! The man mercilessly slashes the girl with a sword in his hand. Oh man, that was a scream. Scream. The man steals the light away from the girl in one blow. And he pierces her heart. But it misses. Well, no, he made it miss. The girl is pierced in her lung and coughs up blood. The chains are broken. Oh, his eyes are glowing. He's still alive. Shattering his binds, the black giant charges at the man. The man pierces the slow-moving target. A lance to pierce the heart. Oh, just like exactly the same, the picture we saw from the very beginning in the prologue. He impales the giant with a lance very similar to Guy Bulg. Oh, well, that's it. The black giant dies for sure this time. The sword is pulled out from the girl. Leaving traces of red, the girl crawls to the unmoving giant. Watching it in delight, the man walks forward. He throws down his sword. He'll use his bare hands to finish off the dying girl. I'll die. I'll probably die. I'll surely die this time. There's no logic behind that servant. He will kill anyone that hinders him. I will surely be killed if I don't get away from here before he finds me. And I... what updated actually? Something updated apparently. Oh, Archer, yeah, obviously. Yeah, usually we see him like this, with slick back hair and, his golden armor. Gate of Babylon. You know about Gate of Babylon. I don't know about his chains though. It doesn't show up. No, anyway. We have a decision. Actually, did I save yet? Let me just save again, just in case. I either stop myself, or I stop that man from killing Ilya. I mean, she kind of... I don't know. On one hand, he tried to murder us several times. But on the other hand, it's kind of innocent. She's like a child, You're murdering like a child? That's not. I don't know. That's not kosher. So, I mean, if we try to stop him, we'll just die, right? Let's do that. We're Emi and Shuro. We're stupid enough to do that. Let's go. My frozen body bursts. My feet lift me up and my arms grab the railing at the same time. I see Tosuka as I do so. She's biting her lips in anger while watching the tragedy below us. I know. Tosuka wants to stop him as well. But we'll be the ones to be killed if we do so. She can't stop him. That goes the same for me as well. I know it's stupid of me to die trying to save a dying girl. I don't care about that. I just can't leave her be. That's all that fills my mind. I jump down over the railing. Tosuka and Shinji both look in surprise at the intruder, but the man does not even look at me. The man reaches for the girl's body. Teme! I yell. I stop him with all my might. The man stops his arm, and he slowly turns to me like death that found its new prey. Oh, interlude. I guess instead of a bad ending, we get an interlude. Alright. Going back over a month, he was summoned into this world before anyone. He was not summoned in this country, a faraway foreign land. The land is always covered in white, the sky is always grey, and the castle is built within a hidden mountain. It was always winter in that land, coldness and stagnation, barrenness and longing. As they cut all ties with the present world and await the reproduction of the miracle, they are like living corpses. The cold winter air steals their human warmth, and the stagnant world does not allow them a new lifestyle. The family is the seeker of the Holy Grail. Spring does not come for the Ainsburn family until their wish is fulfilled. It's been 10 centuries since they started the search for the Holy Grail. 10 centuries? That's pretty long, that's a long time. As they use every possible method to attain their goal, they are eventually able to forge the Holy Grail. But even then, all they can build is the vessel. The divine mystery that should dwell in there is empty, and they keep building vessels that will never be filled. But a foreseeable end comes to them. They perform a ritual to they perform a ritual to fill the vessel with help from outsiders. The result is both a success and a failure. The Holy Grail is made. The Holy Grail should be filled with that method. But they make many enemies at the same time. Even though they should be the owners of the Holy Grail, they've been degraded down to common magi that donate help. Their tenacity is abnormal. No, they've been obsessed since that time 1,000 years ago when they almost obtained the Holy Grail. They broke the rules and constantly pulled out the strongest card. In the first one, they did not have time to do such a thing. In the second one, they finally found a loophole in the rules. In the third one, they summoned what they shouldn't have. And in the fourth one, they were sure of their victory, having the strongest card and its master. The result was a total failure. The servant and the master they selected betrayed them. The man destroyed the Holy Grail, leaving behind his daughter in the Winter Castle. The fourth Holy Grail, you say? The fourth Holy Grail War, I assume. They're talking about the war. Pretty sure. And the man who destroyed that Holy Grail, you say? Leaving his daughter behind, you say? They were infuriated with the man's betrayal, and they lamented their mistake. Outsiders cannot be trusted. Their family, with their perfected magic circuits, will be the only ones to obtain the Holy Grail. They had insurance to begin with, and on the fifth one, I guess this one, they finally prepared the strongest master and servant. It was him. 2 months before the Holy Grail War began, every rule was broken for him, Berserker, to be summoned. Well, as it turns out, despite summoning the strongest servant and having the strongest master, both of them were just killed by some dude with blonde hair. Oops. The days that followed were to only hurt the master. The command spell, graved all over the girl, was used to control Berserker. It did no good as a magic circuit and only drained her life away. Even the slightest move on Berserker's part caused the girl to scream in pain. It was only natural. The Holy Grail would appear in 2 months. The only things keeping him in this world were the girl's magical energy and her command spell. Berserker was not created from the magical energy of the Holy Grail. Even if the girl may have been special, to keep Berserker in this world using her own magical energy was like having her life taken away. Interesting. So, the Iceburn family is breaking the rules in the sense that they chose which servant to summon, right? And I guess specifically Hercules, and they did so like months before the actual war. And usually when you summon a servant, you would use most of your energy from the Holy Grail itself, but the Iceburn, being very picky, apparently is using Ilya, right? Ilya's like own magical energy instead of the Holy Grail, so they can like simply just choose who they want. And I assume they chose the strongest one, the strongest servant ever, Hercules as a Berserker. At least that's what they thought. In the winter, or I guess I think they said from the beginning of the interlude, the Iceburn family is always in a snowstorm because I guess that's where they live. I don't know where that would be on the world map, but I guess somewhere far away from the what do you call it? Equator. Yeah, equator. The farther you away from the equator, the colder you are generally, or your general climate. Anyway, knowing that, they still did not allow for her to rest. They abandoned them in the winter forest, filled with hungry beasts. They gave them over to possess corpses. They threw them in a waste yard full of failures. The only way for the girl to survive was to rely on the giant she had been given. She survived the harsh trials that could not be called training. She would let the giant attack the oncoming enemies. She would let out screams of anguish, but she allowed him to attack every one of her enemies. He does not know himself, and the process became a special one for him. In contrast to her young appearance, she hated whining. Everything that came out of her mouth was an insult. She must have instinctively known that if she was gonna murmur something, she would get stronger when she would insult and hate someone. The girl scorned Berserker for being ugly and cursed his existence. It was only natural. The girl would not have had to suffer if he had not existed. She would not have been thrown in hell if she had not been chosen as a master. The girl insulted the giant every chance she got and used them to take out her anger. The pain had lessened by the time she mastered Berserker's control, which was when the Holy Grail showed signs of its appearance. The girl took away the giant's sanity as if in revenge, treating him as a mad warrior. But he already knew that this was the girl's desperate opposition. The girl did so to hide her weakness. She walked with pride as if saying that she could live alone, and that she did not need any friends or collaborators. It was a bluff to ignore the fact that she was fated to have nothing.
バーサーカーは強いね。
Very I guess, striking scene. Blood everywhere in the snow. A girl, just like, I guess her motif is just all white, in contrast to a giant berserker. The winter forest. The girl timidly touched the arm covered in blood. Surrounded by hungry beasts, the girl was prepared for her death, but desperately denied it. At that time, he was not able to move without an order from his master, and he was the first to be attacked by the beasts. The beast's fangs pierced his arteries, tendons, and eyeballs. With the scene in front of her, the girl screamed. As he had his sanity taken away, he cannot recall what she said back then. But the girl yelled not for her sake, but for his. Even though her body was destroyed whenever he swung his arm, she endured it for his sake. That's why they were both covered in blood. The giant was covered in the beast's blood, and the girl was covered in her own blood. He remembers the winter forest. The weight of the girl that rested on him, crying tears of anguish. And he realized, in that small, cold castle, he was the only one she talked to. More sympathy for the villains. You know, well, we got some backstory for Caster, now we're getting backstory for Berserker and Ilya, actually. A figure appears in his vision. It is just like that time. The tears he did not see on her since she became a complete master. The girl is running to him in tears, and the man slashes her. With a single slash, the golden foe takes away her light forever. Her face is covered in red. She still runs in spite of that, but falls over a piece of rubble as she is blinded. The slender body falls over. There, the enemy's sword is brought down. The sword misses her heart. The girl is coughing up blood as her lung must have been pierced. It is not instant death, but it is fatal. With her eyes blinded, her lung pierced, and her servant eliminated, she has nothing now. So she should at least die peacefully. It might be a salvation if she would just go to sleep right there. But... the girl crawls, leaving traces of blood. Crying in pain, she crawls towards the black giant. How much power was left in him? Breaking the chains with all his might, he charges at the man. The demonic lance is thrust. The heart-piercing lance impales the giant. That ends it. The man pulls out the lance as if nothing has happened, and the remaining power in the giant completely disappears. His body disappears. All the power that was giving his body form has disappeared. So all that is left for him is to disappear. As he ran out of magical energy, there's no way for him to stay in this world. He falls. But in his last living moment, he sees the girl fumbling around for him. Power returns to his falling body. The law of magic that constructed him. The regulation of the world that hates inconsistencies. I can't say words. Anyway, the body that's crumbling away like sand. He pushes aside all powers, trying to eliminate him, using his own power of will. He cannot disappear yet. He is probably the only one she relied on. He has to answer the solitary girl that believed in him, although she insulted him.
ない真っ暗で何もわかんないよまさか
Blinded, the girl crawls with her hands stretched out. She must want to feel him, as she cannot see now. The blood-stained hands grope through empty space, trying to verify his presence. There is no power left in him. There's nothing he can do. Berserker will fall here and die here. His body has died, and there is no power left to support him.
だから私は安心だよどんなやつにだってバーサーカーさえいれば負けないもの
But that cannot be allowed. His mind is dead. Supporting his body with his will that shall no longer exist, he parts from this world. His body is still standing, just as it was when he was invincible. As if to say his body has to be invincible until the very last second for the girl that depended on him. And the girl reaches him, and the hand that was grasping through empty space finally touches something. Coughing up blood, the girl crawls to the hard figure. She cannot see, but she can still feel him. Berserker hasn't lost yet. She cannot see anymore, but Berserker is still strong like always.
よかったずっとそこにいてねバーサーカー
Strength fades from her body. She is hurt and scared, but is alright as long as he's here. He always protected her. He was scary, but he was really kind. His big body was like that of a dad, and she wanted for him to pick her up once.
暗くても怖くないよバーサーカーは強いんだもんこうしていてくれれば私は安心できるから
She rests her body on him. It feels as though he'll rest one of his big, solid hands on her head. Head pat. It's probably true. He should be patting her head when she opens her eyes.
ちょっと寒いね
Her body is cold. Recalling the forest from that time, the girl smiles. It happened so long ago. Recalling the giant that protected her even when injured, the girl peacefully falls asleep. The man reaches out for the girl that went to sleep. Yabero! Well, it's too late now. I think Ilya's dead. Oh well. I mean that was. I guess that was pretty sad. You know, Ilya. I mean, I don't know. I have mixed feelings about Ilya. On one hand, she's pretty evil, but on the other hand, that's all she knows. And she had Berserker protecting her this whole time. That's the only person she relies on. And it's all dashed away by one blonde bastard.